Over the years, I have watched a lot of interior design programs. And the great thing is for our household now is my kids love them as well. So we are into it big time. I've got an analogy for you today that will give you something to think about in terms of your USP, your personal brand, and how you can elevate that. Now, going back to interior design, in a lot of these programs, people might start with one idea. So this might be a piece of fabric, it might be a chair, it might be a fireplace, or the way that the room is configured. For some reason, I seem to, on my algorithm, being delivered lots of sunken sofas at the moment. Maybe there's a particular viewpoint that they want to highlight, the light coming in, a window, something like that. And what can happen is two things or three things. The first two things are jarring and not what you want. So the first thing is that they like paint it in a color, or they do something to almost deaden it down a little bit so it blends in with other stuff. And what happens then is that the piece or the thing that maybe you started with is not elevated. It becomes run of the mill and you don't particularly notice it. Another thing which might happen is they try and highlight it so much that everything else around it doesn't quite make sense with this particular thing. So there isn't a conversation between these two things. And what you want to find is that way to elevate that one thing, but also build strong foundations, things in alignment with that one thing. The reason I'm sharing this is I want to talk about your USP, your personal brand. And I want to ask you some questions around this. Firstly, maybe you've been like the first example, where you know who you are, you know what you're all about, you know where you want to go next, but you're diluting it and you're really fading into the background instead of bringing the things to the forefront. Now, there has been a conversation for a long time of really about thoughtful marketing and being inclusive and being supportive and helpful and considerate and all of these great things. But what might happen in that process is that through wanting to be all the things for all the people, you get so far away from it that it's just a bit diluted. There's nothing really clear. If you looked at it, it's like, I'm not really sure what the feature is. The second thing is, what might happen here is that everything doesn't quite fit because maybe you're trying to structure it against another business model. So for example, I have always known that I'm a creative. I want to have a portfolio career. I want to be flexible. I want to work with my personality. I want to dictate my own schedule, all of these things. However, if I try and do all of these things and put myself behind the same desk for 40 hours a week, the two do not work together. Because in order to be that elevated, highlighted version of myself, I need to be able to move around. I need to work with different people. I need to have a phone call. I need to be able to go and walk on Hampstead Heath because that's where I get my really good ideas. I want to ask you what you need in order to highlight the best version of you and your business and what you're all about. And maybe consider where you're holding back or where you're hiding or where you know that you are giving a diluted version of yourself because you don't want to be too much or you don't want to stand out. Now is absolutely your time to stand out, to show us what you do. Sounds like a stage mum. Show us what you're made of. It's true. We want to see. We haven't got time. We're too tired and we're too overwhelmed and we need to make decisions. So if you've got what somebody needs, tell them, share it, and be clear. Lots of love. Bye.